Hello everyone, this is Prem Kumar. In this video, I'm going to explain you how to use a declare on change rule. So declare on change is part of the declarative rules category and it looks little bit similar to the declare expression, but only big difference is like with the declare expression you watch on some properties like some input property changes, and based on that you execute some kind of expression, whereas with the declare on change we can perform different actions based on some property changes. So definitely we are going to watch on the properties, we are going to see if some of the properties changes or not. So if it changes, then we have two options basically. We can execute an activity, so we can perform any kind of complex processing using the activity, and that activity should be of type declare on change. The next is you can also do some kind of policy override. In this video, in the tutorial, I'm going to explain you how to use a policy override. Before that, let's take a simple example. What you see in the screen is like a shopping cart. Let's say we have a business requirement for an e-commerce application, so that when the purchase order is greater than $5,000, then they get a gift of watch, and that gift is totally of free, right? So as you see in the picture here, the purchase order is 6,000, so which is over the limit. So automatically what you can do is you can add some row or perform some kind of activity. So here we have added another product, the gift watch, automatically saying that it is just a gift. So what we did here is we were watching a property of total cost, and when it exceeds, we can use some activity, because this is not a very simple calculation. We are going to add or append a row to the grid. So I consider it little bit complex. So you can use declare on change to add a row and then initialize some properties to it. So declare on change, when you think, you can think it of like it is getting used in some kind of product order purchase request cases. For the tutorial, I will be using the policy override. So for policy override, my business requirement is if the end user have some kind of fraud suspicion over the customer, then the end user can choose to suspend the work object. So the client's records will be suspended until someone reviews, and only once it is reviewed and say if the case can proceed further, then only the case can proceed. Otherwise, the case will be totally suspended. And these things, Pega provides a lot of out-of-the-box flows and activities that helps with suspending the work object. So we are going to see that in this video. Let's go to Business Studio and check it out. So currently I have logged in into the Business Studio. Declare on change is again part of the decision category. So you expand decision, and here you will find the declare on change rules. You see only very few list of available out of the box rules. You can open any of the out of the box declare on change rules and check how it is configured. Maybe I will quickly walk you through the configuration first before we create our own declare on change rule. The first thing is declare on change is also going to get triggered in the forward chaining mode. It means it needs to know at which properties it is dependent on, or we need to configure what are the properties we need to watch for. Here as you see, this declare on change, it is watching for 8 properties on this class. So whenever these properties gets changed, then definitely this declare on change is going to get fired. So that is why you have to specify what are the properties you need to watch under this block. So once you specify this property, then you can also have some kind of condition, because mostly like 99%, even if the property change, you want to have some kind of condition to execute some action, because property change can happen at multiple places and you don't want to trigger the business requirement for every property change. Unless there is a specific requirement, you can do that. Otherwise, you can always specify conditions to determine what type of actions you can perform. Here you can specify a when rule, and then you can choose two options. Either you can use an activity or you can suspend the work object completely. Using an activity, if you choose, then you have two options again. When the when condition evaluates to true, you can run an activity, and rarely when the condition evaluates to false also, you can run an activity. So if you take our grid example, when the condition is true, then we can use an activity to add a row there. Now we will check how to use this suspend work object. So this is what I'm going to show you now. For the sake of this tutorial, I created few rules. I created a property of type boolean, and it checks like is fraud suspected. So it gives either true or false, and end user can select this, And I also created a when rule for it that can determine if the fraud suspected returns true or false. So you can see here I also created this is fraud selected that just verifies this boolean property. So for boolean property you can just give only the property name. It always checks if the property evaluates to true if you give only the property name. This is specifically only for the boolean property, but for other text properties you need to specify equal to true or something, but for boolean property it's not needed. Okay, these are the only two rules I created. Now first we will capture this property into the user screen. To do that I'm going to use the create screen. I'll open the section of name create, and under this section I'm going to include a checkbox, a very simple checkbox. So first I will include a dynamic layout. Maybe in real time this fraud check can come at a later stage, but just for this demo purpose I'm including it at the very first stage. And then I'm going to use the picker here. I'll use the checkbox and specify the property is fraud suspected. So this is a boolean property, so checkbox can be the very nice control for it. And then we can also give a label for it. Okay, now we capture this detail within the py work page, and this property we should watch for, right? So let's create a new declare on change rule. Go to decision, declare on change, and here I'm going to say fraud suspension. This should be fine, and it will be under the A-Life claims case, claims records case. Create and open. Now the properties to watch for is our only property which we check is fraud suspected. So whenever this property changes, then this declare on change can fire using the forward chaining declarative network. Now the condition when rule also we already defined is fraud suspected. So I'm going to use the same when rule. So when the fraud is suspected, what I'm going to do? I'm going to suspend this work object. So to suspend work object, you need to use two things. Two mandatory things. You have to specify a policy override flow as well as an error message. So policy override flow, Pega already provides a default. So you can use policy, then you see this flow, policy override flow. If you want to look at this flow, you just click and open it. There it uses a sub process which calls another process flow, policy override. And inside this flow, you will find there is an assignment where end user or the reviewer can either approve or reject to allow or deny it. We'll see both these options. So we are using this out of the box flow rule, which can be very easily customized. As you can see, it is in status available. So most of the time you may need to customize it. You can very well do that on your own. Now coming back here, error message. For error message also I just created just now. So I just give a message that this case is suspended. This is totally fine for me. So I can display the error message. Now this is the only configuration which I need to do on the declare on change. Now do a save. Now this declare on change will always fire when this property changes, and we already added this property in the create stage. Now let's check it out. Go to new claims request, and here you see this is the property. It is fraud suspected. By default it is false. Now I'm going to enable it as true. Now if I submit this case, definitely this should not proceed further. It should get suspended because I already marked it as fraud suspected. Let's see how it goes. We can also trace it and find what are the Pega rules that are involved for this, and then go to settings and just enable the declare on change, which I already did. You can see here declare on change, just enable it, and now fill in if there is a mandatory detail, just fill in and do a submit. Let's see how the case proceeds now, and the tracer now should be capturing all the details. I feel the policy override should be at the very start, so I'm going to just stop the tracer, and then first let's see how the case is there. You see the case, the work object is suspended pending a policy override review. So it is already suspended. It is waiting for some review, and you see the status is also pending policy override. Let's look at the tracer to find what are the rules that are involved for that. As soon as we click submit, first the declare on change fires. It uses the forward chaining. So it uses the expression to check what are the forward chaining properties similar to declare expression. And then the on change gets triggered. It evaluates the when rule. As you can see, is fraud selected as true. Then what we did is we just marked the work object as is suspended. As you can see here, mark work for suspension. So definitely this property should be there in the py work page. Let's also check suspended property. You see the suspended operator, I only suspended the case, and suspended date time you can find. You can see the px investigation. So there needs to be some investigation done, and flow type is policy right. These are all the things which we configured. And one more important property is px marked for suspension is true. Why I'm making this as important property is when the case gets committed, we always check this property by default. If you go here, you will find on the commit with error handling, this is one of the most common activities. So whenever a case gets committed, this activity gets called, and there you see it checks for the property px marked for suspension. You can also open this activity and try to find out. You will find that it always checks if there is some kind of suspend flows. As you can see, if it is true, then it always calls the suspend flows. And you can also see a new flow will be initiated. So definitely a flow should be initiated in this py work page. You can also find the same from the clipboard now. If you go to clipboard and then expand the py work page, I'm at the wrong context. Let me open the case and then expand the py work page, px flow. You will find that there is a policy override flow started, and that calls finish policy override. So you can see all the flows are initiated for this case, and you can see it is waiting into assign work list. So it is assigned to the administrator at pega.com, which you can easily update. So now let's look at the case, how it is and what are the actions that can be performed. As we already saw, there are two actions that can be performed. One is allow and the other is deny. First, let's allow this work object. So what happens if we allow this work object? You can see allow this work object to reactivate it. If we can do submit here, then the policy override flow is completed, and again we enter into the create stage. As you can see from the clipboard, we can check the px flow for it, and you see we are already into the create form. So all you can do is now get back to the create form, and then you can change whatever you want. Now let's create a new case, and then let's call it again as fraud suspected. Now do a submit, and the case goes into policy pending policy override. Now if I want to cancel this case, I want to deny this because I confirm now that this is totally a fraud suspected. So I'm going to deny this work object. So click on deny work object, and then you can select different status, whatever status you want. I'll just say resolve revoked, and these sections can be easily customized. You can add some notes if you want. And finally, when you do submit, this case will be totally resolved or completed. Let's do a submit here. You see, this case gets resolved. By this way, you can use the policy override, or you can suspend the work object by using the declare on change. So this is one part. The other part is you can execute any type of activity, and that activity can perform whatever processing it wants. A simple example, like you can add a line to the grid. And also remember, whenever you use activity, let's say you use this call activity, and then you should have the activity of type on change. What I meant here is if I open this activity, then you will find on the security tab, it should be of type on change. Otherwise, you cannot get the activity listing here. As you can see, here it lists only two activity because by out of the box, only these two activities are marked as on change. That is why you find here. So if you want to create some on change activity, you can very well do it, but you need to specify the type of on change, and also avoid using some kind of transactions like obj save and doing some steps on the on change. Those things you can do it structurally or procedurally. Only for on change, just do some updates, some complex calculations if you want, you can very well do it. I hope I explained this declare on change very clearly. So declare on change, you watch on some properties, and based on the property changes, you can have conditions to execute your activity, or you can also suspend the work object. In the next video, I'm going to explain about the declare trigger. See you in the next video.